Hey everyone, Joe here. Today I'm going to give you my unbiased opinion on two of the biggest blender brands on the market, Vitamix and Blendtec. Now, I'm not going to be doing any tests today, but I've been using both brands for the past couple years, and I'm just going to give you my experience with them. So this video is going to be broken down into 4 parts. First, I'm going to talk about whether these blenders live up to their hype, reputation, and whether they're worth your money. Second, I'm going to be talking about what the important features of each of them are. Third, I'm going to tell you which one I like better. And finally, I'm going to give you my recommended models for each of these brands if you're on a budget or if you're not on a budget. So be sure to watch until the very end. So do these blenders live up to the hype? Do they function as advertised, and are they worth your money? And to that, I would say absolutely. Both these blenders can do pretty much anything you throw at them. Now, there's one of them that I think is far easier to use than the other, but I'm going to talk about that in the next section. So when you see advertisements for these two, the manufacturer is showing them making thick smoothies, hot soups, batters, all that kind of stuff, you can do it easily in any of these. Aside from what they're actually capable of, which is pretty much anything, I wanted to talk about the warranty, because both of these blenders have extremely long warranties. I think Vitamix, their new line, has a 10-year warranty, but on any other new unit, it's 7 years, and I think Blendtec, all their units have 7 or 8 year warranties now. But I have to say, with dealing with both these companies and how they handle warranty claims, both are excellent. So, for example, with this Vitamix here, I had an issue where it was burning out, it wouldn't blend. I simply sent it back to Vitamix free of charge. They sent it back, and it was really simple. I had a similar experience with Blendtec. You just talk to someone on the phone, they fix the issue and send you a replacement, and it's been an overall great experience. So I think the warranty is really what you're paying. That's half of what you're paying for. So keeping the warranty in mind, if you think about the guaranteed amount of time that these blenders will work, they're actually not that expensive. So if you get a cheaper blender that has a 1-year warranty for like 80 or 90 bucks, that really only means that blender is going to work guaranteed for 1 year, not factoring in if you have to pay to send it back for any repairs. But say you buy a new Vitamix or Blendtec for $3.99 and you get a 7-year warranty, it really only comes out to around $57 per year that you're paying to have a blender that you know is going to work. So I know when we buy most things, we don't really think too much about the warranty, but I would say blenders are definitely an exception, and these two brands have excellent warranties. So let's talk about the important features in my mind and which ones I actually use. So really, there's only 2. The first one is the variable speeds. So most Vitamix models, there are some exceptions, will have a variable speed knob, which means that you start on the lowest setting, you turn it to the highest one. Some even have a turbo knob or a turbo switch to get it to the highest speed. Blendtecs, they either have a variable slider or these plus minus buttons to control the speed. So why is variable speed important? Now, whenever you're blending something, you're essentially trying to create a situation where you have a vortex where all the ingredients are moving towards the blades and falling on top of each other. It makes it way easier to start it on low and gradually move it up to high if you want to get that to happen. And the reason is because if you have a thick mix of ingredients and you just turn it on high right away, the blades are just going to push all that to the sides, and then they're just going to be spinning, and nothing is going to be touching the blades, which is not what you want. So by using the variable speed dial, you start it on low and you move it up to high, and all the ingredients and liquids get caught in the blades, forming that vortex tornado, which will pulverize all the ingredients. So some Vitamix models, and most, if not all, Blendtec models have what's called pre-programmed settings. These pre-programmed settings are, you simply press a button and you walk away, and it's got a cycle that it's gonna blend, it's gonna do different speeds, a couple different pulses, and create that final product for you. Personally, I don't find these functions that useful. And the reason is because I like to cook on the fly. I don't really measure all that much when I'm using either blender. So I just throw stuff in, throw as much liquid in as I feel that I want, and control it with the variable speeds. Now, some people swear by those pre-programmed settings, but personally, I don't really find them that useful for the reason that I just told you. As long as you have the variable speeds, you can pretty much blend anything and you don't need any pre-programmed settings. So this brings me to my final feature that I feel is really important in both these blenders, and only one blender comes with it, and that is the ability to tamp the ingredients. Now, Blendtecs have more powerful motors than Vitamix. All Blendtecs at least have a 3 horsepower motor, and all the countertop Vitamixes start at around 2. And you can notice that when you turn it on. The Blendtec definitely is more powerful. But as far as overall function goes, this is really an invaluable tool. As I mentioned when I was talking about the variable speeds, is that ingredients get stuck on the sides with either of these blenders, or you have a bunch of ingredients at the top that aren't getting to the bottom. And this makes it just so easy to push the ingredients down into the blades and get that vortex every time you do it. So, for example, in the Blendtec, if I'm trying to make banana ice cream with just frozen bananas, it could be really difficult to get those bananas towards the blades. At least I've personally found you have to blend it, stop it, open it up, readjust the ingredients, put it back. With the Vitamix and the tamper, I don't really have any of those issues. Now, to be fair, Blendtec does offer a device similar to this, which is called a twister jar, and I know that it works really, really well, but the problem is that you gotta buy it separately, and it's an entirely separate jar. It's an entirely separate blender container. So, that being said, I like the fact that the tamper is included with the Vitamix. I just think it gives it so much more ease of use. And this brings me to the final section, which is, which one do I like better? So I like them both. Let's be clear about that. But because of this one thing, the tamper and the variable speed knob, I find I like controlling it better with a knob than with the buttons. But for this one thing is the reason why I like the Vitamix better. It's just so much easier to use with this, and no matter what I'm making, I know that I'm never gonna have an issue with stuff getting stuck. Now, I will say that when it comes to making a vortex, because the Blendtec is a little bit more powerful, it can do it a little bit better sometimes without tamping at all. Whereas with the Vitamix, I am gonna have to use this if I wanna make something super thick. Whereas with the Blendtec, I can sometimes get it without the need for it, but I find most of the time I would rather have this than not have it. So now we're on to the final section, which is which models do I recommend in 2018? So if you're on a budget, I have to say that a reconditioned Blendtec Total Blender, the warranty is only 3 years, but I've seen them go for really, really cheap. And if you don't have a lot of money and you want to get a good blender, I really think that picking up a reconditioned Blendtec Total Blender is going to have everything that you're looking for. And if you find that you really, really need that twister jar, you always have the option of buying it separately. If you have a little bit more of a budget and you're a single individual or a small family, I think the Vitamix Explorian E310 is a great choice right now. It only has a 48-ounce container and a 5-year warranty, but it's pretty affordable compared to the other Vitamixes. And again, it can do anything that the big ones can do. So I think that's a great choice. Now, if budget is not an issue for you, here's what I'd recommend. So there's a lot of older generation Vitamix models out there that have the pre-programmed settings that you're gonna have to pay more for. And because I've said that I don't really find those useful, I can do anything with the variable speed knobs and the tamper, I don't recommend paying more for those. So basically you have three options. You can get one of the newer Ascent Series. Now the Ascent Series has all sorts of fancy technology, including pre-programmed settings that you can access with a smartphone. But the thing that I like about it the most is that it has the variable speed knob and it has a 10-year warranty, that's a long time, you guys. Most Vitamixes come with a 7-year warranty standard. And if you can afford one of the Ascent Series up front, that's a really, really good deal in my opinion. So the other option is to go with a 5200 or a 5300. The only major difference between these two is that the 5200 has this tall container, which you see here, and these tall containers are a little bit better at blending smaller amounts of ingredients because you could see everything's kind of closer together at the bottom, but you run into some issues when you stack it up high because all the weight kind of weighs down on it. It's not to say that it can't do it, it's just the wider container on the 5300 is just a little bit better when you have larger amounts of ingredients, but it's a little bit worse when you have smaller amounts because you have such a wide surface area at the bottom. So those are my recommendations, guys. I'm gonna leave links to everything I've mentioned in the description below, as well as some guides that I think you're all gonna find helpful. So if you have any questions about Vitamix or Blendtec, please let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer every single comment, question, and respond within a reasonable period of time. And if you found this video helpful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and happy blending. See you later.